Hey YouTubers, welcome back to my series Professional Video Production on a Shoestring Budget. Today I want to talk about my workflow with the Insta 360 camera, and I'm editing in native 360 and posting videos in virtual reality at YouTube VR, as well as editing in free capture. And I'm going to talk about my workflow, the old Macs that I'm using, and I'm going to talk about 3 editing programs: VideoPad, Final Cut 10, and Davinci Blackmagic. First of all, a bit of background. I've done a few videos about the Insta 360. If you're watching this one, check out my video on tips for getting the best performance out of this little camera for posting virtual reality videos in native 360 up at YouTube VR. Check that out. And I've got some other videos I've done on the 360. Check out the playlist, video production on a shoestring budget. I've put all the Insta 360 videos at the top of the list, so they're easy to find. But first of all, just a little bit of background about what I'm doing and what my expectations were for this little camera. I live on Vancouver Island, a beautiful part of the world, and I thought what I would do with this little camera is a bunch of short travel videos. And by short, I'm talking about 2 to 4 minutes long and just stitching a few shots together. Really simple videos, maybe add a bit of music, very simple. So before I bought the camera, I did a whole bunch of research, and a lot of people were saying that, oh, to work with this camera, you have to have the newest and the greatest and the best, computers and all this. And I really didn't want to spend a lot of money, just to fool around with some travel videos. So I kept doing some research because I have a Mac Pro Tower. And I thought, these are pretty skookum machines. I should be able to do simple videos with this. So I kept looking around, and I found a guy that seemed to know what he's talking about, and he understood my expectations were very basic. And he said that, yeah, you should be able to get away with that. And he told me that my limitation with the tower was going to be the graphics card. So we're going to get into a bit more about that later. But I went ahead and I bought the camera, and thinking that I would, use my Mac Pro 4.1 tower, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing, and it's working. I'm going to talk about my iMac. Let's start with my iMac, and then I'll move on to the Mac Pro Tower. When I first got the camera, I was waiting for more RAM for my old Mac Pro Tower, so I had to send away, and it was going to take a bit of time. But of course, we get a new toy, and we want to use it. And I was really anxious to get some 360 virtual reality videos up on my website. So I was looking around at the different editing programs, free and cheap, and I came across VideoPad. And it looked like something that might work for me with my iMac. I've got an old 2011 iMac with 12 gigs of RAM, i5 processor. And I thought, well, they had them reduced. They had VideoPad reduced, $30 for the home edition, with the limitation mostly being that it would only handle 4K video. But I really wanted to jump in and do some 360, so I purchased it and I put it on my iMac. And what's great about VideoPad is it's a really small, light program. I was able to install that on my iMac, and it works. It seems to work fine. If I'm doing native 360 videos with VideoPad, it does work. Of course, it's very clunky. It's very slow. I'm stitching together big files. And the great thing about VideoPad is, one of the smart marketing things that they've done is all you have to do is search YouTube VideoPad and put in a subject, and you'll find a VideoPad video on how to do that. And they're all pretty simple, and they're great how-to videos. And you don't have to watch a 20-minute video to get to that one point. They've broken it down into very specific topics. So VideoPad is actually a pretty good little program, and I'm using it on a 2011 iMac, and it seems to be working. For the 360 videos, you're outputting in 4K, and you're basically, when you go to your output settings, it's really just, it's like, it's video editing for dummies. So it just sort of recommends the best settings for output. Um, so that's where that's where you really realize that you're not looking at a professional video NLE. It's really video editing for dummies, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, if all you want to do is some home videos for your family, and you want to up your game a little bit from iMovie or what the other free videos you can get, or even if you wanted to do some low budget videos for your company, and you didn't want to learn how to be an editor, you just wanted to do them yourself, maybe with your phone or your iPhone or even a little camera you've got, I highly recommend VideoPad. It's a really nice little program. It's a very powerful little program. It has a lot of features. You can do titling. If all you want to do is free capture and you're working with 1920 by 1080 resolution files, I'm doing that on my iMac and it's working fine. I'm doing edits and it's all working fine. I'm not doing really complicated edits, but it's working fine. So the other big drawback to VideoPad is the home edition only gives you 2 tracks of audio. Now, if you're just doing really simple stuff, you can probably work with 2 tracks of audio. If you find you need a 3rd track, the trick there is to do your 2 channels. I would suggest doing a track with your video and your background sound, and then maybe doing another track with your narration. Do your voiceover and output that, and you'll have a file with a mixed down audio track. Re-input that file into VideoPad, and then there you go. You've got an audio track, and you've got your spare channel too, and you can add music or whatever, and then you're in business. So you can see beside me here, I have a couple of old Mac Pro Towers. I've got an old 3,1 from 2008 and a 4,1 from 2009. The 4,1 has been updated to High Sierra using the DOS Dudes patch. And I highly recommend it. You can get one of these machines dirt cheap. I mean, in the States, you can probably get one for $350. And if you know anything at all about computers, you should be able to use the DOS Dude patch and upgrade it to a 4,1 in High Sierra. It gets you into some newer nonlinear editing programs. I'm going to talk about the 3,1 in a few minutes, but let's talk about the 4,1 and what I'm doing with it. I had an older version of Final Cut 10 on it that allows me to do 5.77K files when I'm working in 360 virtual reality, and I want to use the highest resolution I can, which is 5.7K with the Insta 360 camera. So I had an old version of Final Cut 10 on here, which I never liked. I got it for the color grading feature with the LUTs, and I just never liked it. I never liked the program, and that's my opinion. Coming from Final Cut 7, working with Final Cut Pro since almost the beginning, around 2000, I didn't like Final Cut 10. Final Cut 10 to me is like iMovie on steroids. Of course, a lot of people are using it, and a lot of people love it, and that's all fine and good. It's a very powerful program. It's got a lot of features. One of the things for me that I didn't like about it was the workflow, the way that you manage your files, etc. But again, that's just my opinion. But for what I'm doing, and so having said that, over the years, if I have a complicated edit, like a complicated documentary, or if I'm doing one of my how-to videos, where I want to put it's a complicated audio track, etc., I'll go back to my 3,1 and I'll work in Final Cut Pro 7, and that's an old 3,1 with Snow Leopard, and it works just fine. But for my virtual reality videos, I'm working with Final Cut 10, and it's just very simple. I'm dropping in my opening animation, and the videos are literally a couple of shots stitched together with maybe a sound effects track and some music. So they're really, really simple videos, and they're 2 to 4 minutes long. And I'm posting those up at my YouTube channel, and they're for viewing at YouTube VR. with an Oculus Quest headset. Um, and, and it's working okay. Now, through this process, I wanted to look at Davinci Blackmagic, because through all the research in this process of researching the camera and the different editing programs, I came across Davinci, and I was aware of it, um, but I wasn't really aware of the free version of Davinci. And a lot of editors had high praises for it. So I actually downloaded it. I downloaded Davinci 16, the free version, which will run on High Sierra. They say it won't, but it will. And and the downside to the free version is that it will only do 4K of the 360 videos. But I really wanted to try it. And having tried it, if you're serious about editing, download the free version. It's brilliant marketing. The free version, as far as I can tell, has pretty much all of the features, except it only does 4K. But you can do multiple tracks of audio, um, great color grading features. It's just, and what I really like about it is the workflow. It's got a great workflow. If you're an experienced editor, if you've worked with other NLEs, you drop right into it. It's a really powerful program. So as I get going with this, um, and if I can see that my travel videos are actually generating a bit of income, that's yet to be seen. I'm going to upgrade this thing probably to 5.1, and I'll upgrade the operating system and the processors, and and I will get the professional version of Davinci. I highly recommend looking at the free version. I just I like it so much better than Final Cut 10. You guys can comment on that. I know there's a lot of Final Cut 10 users out there, but for somebody from a professional background who worked with Final Cut 7 for a long time and got pretty good at it, it's just my opinion. I didn't like Final Cut 10. Um, so don't listen to these guys on the internet that tell you that you can't do this on these old Macs, because you can. I'm doing it. I mean, you have to understand it's simple stuff. But when you're working with 360 video, unless you're trying to do a long 20-minute 360 travel video or a documentary, okay, you're going to need more power. But if you just want to do some short virtual reality videos, you don't need to have these new computers. You can do it on your old stuff, as long as you're aware of your limitations. It's going to be slow. It's going to be a slow output. It's going to be kind of clunky when you're editing, when you drop stuff into your timeline. It's not seamless. You're going to have to drop it in there and let it buffer for a bit. And when I say a bit, a couple of seconds. But the key to that is trim your shots in Insta 360 so that you're not editing in your timeline. Even if you have a long shot and you want to cut it, break it up, do that in Insta 360. If you have one shot and you want to break it into 3 pieces, do that there. And I think you'll find that it works. So this is a video that I'm welcome to comments. We're all learning about what we can do with this little camera, because at $600, we know we're not getting a high-end virtual reality camera. So there you go. I've got an iMac from 2011 that I was able to work with this stuff. I've got this old Mac Pro Tower from 2009. I paid $450 for this up here in Canada. It came with a SSD drive mounted in the motherboard for operating systems, which I really like. And it also came with a 600 gigabyte media drive. And it came with High Sierra. It had already been upgraded to High Sierra with the DOS Dude patch. So $450, pretty good price for something like that. You'd probably get this in the States for $300 or $350. What I did have to do with this was I upgraded the graphics card. I got a 460 GTX graphics card. I had to upgrade it from the stock graphics card that came with it. And I could have even gotten a better graphics card, and it probably would have been a better workflow scenario, but this is working for me. Again, knowing my limitations, what I want to do. Okay, so thanks for watching. Check out my video, my playlist, video production on a shoestring budget. I've got 4 or 5 videos I've done with the Insta360 camera, and the latest one I've posted is how to get the most out of this little camera for shooting for virtual reality, posting at YouTube VR. And in that video, I explain how to, using your Oculus Quest headset, how to go to YouTube VR and find my playlist through my home page. And then you can, I've got a whole bunch of videos there that I've shot in the last 6 months, and I've left everything up there so you can see what works and what doesn't work and connect it to what I've been talking about. So check that out, and check out other videos in my video production on a shoestring budget. There's a lot there. So cheers. Thanks for watching. See you next time.